Hey, it's Joe Glines from The-automator, and in a minute here I'm going to show you the really cool program that Dimitri demonstrated in the webinar, the last webinar we did. He showed a converter that'll convert your Excel VBA code into AutoHotkey code. Now, it's not all fleshed out and everything, but I'm going to show you that here in a second. First off, I want to mention, if you're not already a subscriber, you can definitely subscribe to YouTube, right? You're seeing this, but also sign up the URL below me here. That gives you the, it'll bring you to the alerts you know, I send you emails, and we're having a special. I only spam you once. No, but you know, once every couple weeks to a month or so, I send out some alerts of just here's some cool things I found in automation. So sign up for that. I don't, you know, we have it. I don't give it out. I don't sell it to other people. So sign up. Check it out. Now let's get going here. Let me switch over to, here we go. And in here, this is just the webinar, which I have the link to it here. Let's see, where are we? Dimitri's VBA to AHK translator. I can click it, but right here, this is, by the way, this is on the AutoHotkey under webinars. If you search for AutoHotkey webinars, you go here and you find this last one where we mentioned, if you haven't taken it, please take the AutoHotkey user survey. Also sign up for the mentorship program. The links are on here somewhere. But anyway, back to where we're going here with Dimitri's converter. So let's step through the whole process here. So let's say, that's his script. Let's say we're in Excel, and I was just fooling around with the file. I don't actually even really know what I'm gonna do here. I thought we'd do something, but we want to record a macro right now. First off, also, the example I'm going to show you is I'm kind of doing it as a, hey, we're not sure how to do it in AutoHotkey. Let's record a macro and then convert that macro. But you might get VBA code because you searched on like Stack Overflow, you found the solution in VBA and you want to convert that. So the example here, I'm going to show you to use the macro recorder in Excel, but you might be getting your VBA code from somewhere else, right? Which is a great way to do it, by the way. Stack Overflow especially has just a ton of VBA code examples. They have some AutoHotkey, but VBA more so. So often if I get stuck on something, I'll look for how to do it in VBA and then convert it to AutoHotkey. Now, Dimitri's function here, again, it's not completely you know, bulletproof, but it's a start, right? So let's say I wanted to learn how to bold some text. So, and I'm going to go through some highlights of what I like and don't like, also about just the general thing. Now, you go to your developer tab, ribbon, whatever you want to call this stupid thing. And you can hit record macro. I actually even have a button up here just because I like it handy, but all right, I'm going to record a macro, give it a name. We'll say bold, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. You go to your action. Oh, I just bolded it. And now what I like to do, because some people will do like 4 or 5 things, and then you go look at your macro, and it's, holy cow, it's really long and confusing. What I like to do is just break it down. So we're going to stop there. I'm going to say stop recording. Now let's take a look at our code, which I think is Alt F11. Let's try that. Alt F11. Yeah. Now, if you're not used to this, you have to look under your modules. This module 1, we go in here. See this bold? That's the subroutine kind of we just wrote. And they even gave the name here. Now this is the text. This is what it did, right? So this whole thing, this is what we would borrow. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Dimitri's tool, paste it, and I guess I don't have to run it. I'm not sure why I have a run button. Maybe that's to make sure it updates. But here, and it looks like, now here, oh boy, you know what? This font's probably pretty small. Let me copy this. And actually, let me show initialization, because we need to be able to try to connect to Excel if you don't have that built into your script, right? So come over here. I'm going to paste it. Now let me zoom in. So this, by the way, my default settings, I just have a hotkey that's going to keep running it or reload it for me. It's going to try and connect to Excel. So that's way it'll try it first. If it can connect to Excel, great, go forward. If not, he has it creating an Excel document and then making it visible and then going forward. Of course, that would make no sense in this case because you're supposed to be selecting this text. And if the file didn't exist, why would you? It's kind of weird to be bolding a file that doesn't, you know, some cells that don't exist. Now here, here is the range that it's been hard coded in here, which is fine, right? But let's give this a whirl. Let's save this. Save as. So macro Now I'm going to launch it. So that just kicked it off. Now we notice there's two green H's down here, right? One is the VBA converter because it's still running, and the other is that. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to unbold these. Okay, now when I hit my hotkey, bummer. It didn't. Let's make sure. So let's go into some troubleshooting, right? Let's make sure first off that we got to it. First thing I do is throw up a message box. Hi, it doesn't matter, right? So here, okay, so my hotkey worked. It launched a script. We got into there, yet for some reason, it got there. Oh, bold. Look at. Oh, it made it into. That's interesting. It made it into a function, but then it didn't call the function. So here you have to know some AutoHotkey, right? I don't know why. Like, let's go ahead and here, let's get rid of some of this stuff. Now, let's call bold. Unfortunately, now this is weird because I think we'd have to pass the worksheet. Oh, it's interesting. His worksheet, and worksheet's not global, but he's put it inside of a function, so I don't understand how that's supposed to work. Let's go ahead and pass it though and see if that'll work. So bold, we're going to give it a parameter. So here, and again, it's a start, right? So we're going to give it a parameter, which we'll need to add into here. Ian, this is where we would probably convert it to having a range, pass a range as well. I can get rid of this. Let's put a return here. I'm going to put this as saying done. So this is on the back side of it. So now we're going to come in here, try to activate it. It's going to get the active worksheet, put that. Then this is going to call this function. So hopefully it jumps down. It's going to pass this. That should be active. Let's see if that'll work. So relaunch it, come into here. Oh, now I actually saw it. So it did highlight it. Let me do this again. You notice that flicker? Hopefully you saw that. It highlighted it, and this is the other thing. You don't need to select the text with AutoHotkey or even VBA. The macro saw you go select the text, select it, and then bold it, right? There's no reason to select the text. It's just one more thing to slow down the speed of your program. And I'm not blaming Dimitri's code for that, because that's what it did. It's just why, in general, I don't like to use macro recorders to write my code. Now, having said that, so see, he works with the selection here, and then, so that's interesting. So Excel, oh, look at that. I think I know the issue here. So this worksheet selection, I didn't also pass, because this is inside a function. The way functions are, you have your scope, right? So this Excel is not going to, we need to pass that as well, which is stupid, because, we might be able to work off of, let's try worksheet here and see if that'll work. The Excel object, it's pretty interesting. There's a different hierarchy in what you can connect to, what you can do. Let's try and run it. Oh, it didn't like it. So you cannot use that one. You cannot use worksheet there. But let's just come back up into here and make here global. If I could spell global correctly. There we go. So now I can come back down into here, come back in, and this was, what was it? Oh, Excel. So relaunch it. Let's unselect it to be sure. There we go. So now we have our done, but look, it turned it bold. Why was that? That's because I made this Excel object global, and that way down here where it's getting called inside this function, it had access to it, because when it wasn't global, it's not possible to do that, right? So again, I'm sure this is dynamic and he's still working on it, but it seems a bit odd to me to put it in a function. But well, which it's fine. I like functions. Don't get me wrong. But the question is, if you're going to put it in a function, you got to make sure you pass along. Make these either global or pass them to it. And so yeah, that just seems odd to me. Now, to go back, circle back on this a little bit, what I would have done is just said, take this and say, Excel dot range So let's get rid of that and that. And we can say true or 1, either one. So now, instead of saying go select it, right? Let's come back. Well, let me first launch it. All right. I'm going to come back and turn the bolt off. So now here, now watch, hopefully, when I run this. So it just bolted it, but it didn't select it, right? And that's just one of the things I don't personally like the selection thing. That's a personal thing, but it just slows down your script. Just begs for more things to go wrong. And again, I'm not knocking the conversion tool, because that's what Excel did, right? That's not what Dimitri did. That's what the Excel macro recorder did, because it saw us go select it. And you know, he could build into this at some point. Anytime it says selection, actually get the range and then put in the range instead of going and selecting it, right? So that's the first one, which let's all fine and good. Let's boy, I can never hit this hotkey in here. Actually, I think I built a second one. No, not that one. I was trying to use the, what is it, like Control Shift 1. It's not F1, is it? Ah, there we go. Shift F1. That'll block the entire thing. Now let's go back. Let's do one other thing. Now I did try this one earlier and I saw it didn't work, and that's what I wanted to demonstrate. So that example didn't quite work perfectly. There's some tweaks that clearly need to be made with the converter. But now let's say we... How do we do this? All right, let's first add our filters, right? And now we're going to record a second macro. So I'm going to hit this button, record macro. I'm going to do sort. That's what the name of it's going to be called. Okay, now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to sort this smallest to largest. Great, and then stop recording. And then let's look at our code. So here's this one that got, this is the VBA code. Now, of course, we have to convert this. Let's go to Dimitri's converter. Yeah, I think that ran. So here it's putting sort into a function. We're going to have, it looks like the same issue that it's calling things that there's unfortunately no, these aren't global up here, but we'll just make them global so we can avoid that this time. But let's go ahead and copy all of this, bring it back into here, come up here, sort. Oh, apparently I got caps lock on. Sort. Okay, let's make this global. And the fact that we know Excel is a thing, this we don't have to worry about this, right? Because it's not going to do that. And let's also make this global, and then we don't have to pass it. Setting things global, you know, depending on who you are, you know, the more advanced programmers would say it's really crappy to do things global because suddenly, you know, it can really cause a lot of issues. You know, on simple scripts, it's okay, right? On more advanced stuff, where you have a really big program, it can be more problematic. And then there's security issues if you're collaborating with other people and whatnot, but whatever. All right, so, and now look, of course, it didn't call the function. So it built the function, but now that calls it, and I'm going to put a return here. And we'll do a message box sorted, right? So I'll know that's done. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so now this is going to, interesting enough, it's going to clear the filters, it looks like. The auto filter is going to set it to clear, and then it's going to try to set it in all this stuff. These are constants that, oh, and that's interesting. So for whatever reason, they didn't get brought in. I think he mentioned, or someone mentioned, even though I didn't see an include for it in the initial one, there's the this Excel sort on, that is a constant that is defined in Excel, but it's not defined in AutoHotkey. However, there is, let's go back to here, because I didn't, oh, here we go. Here's the constants. Please put the constants in the same folder of the script to allow it to add the correct Excel constants. So let's grab this. I always like to just get the raw, copy it here. Well, I could just save that, whatever. Let's go back to here. I'm going to right click, say open folder, which of course opens the other window. New. I'm going to make it a text file because that's what it says. What was it? Excel constants, I think. Oh, just constants. Let me move this over so you can see what I'm doing. So, constants. And we're going to put all these in here. So now, and let's change this to just something else. There we go. It just helps highlight it. Let's come back into Studio. This Excel sort on values. Let me copy this. So this looks like it's alphabetical. Sort on values equals 0. So this thing equals 0, right? So theoretically, we could come in here and just put a 0 here, and it would work the way in Excel ascending. That's what it's telling it to sort on. But I don't. Let's go back into here because he must mention to you got to import it somehow, right? Please provide include in the same folder script. Allow it to add. So just adding a few more constants, but where? Somewhere you need to read those in. I don't understand how just being a text file there, because that's not going to work. Right? But let's go ahead and save this, launch it, come over here to Excel. We're going to sort this alternately now when I run it. Invalid number parameters, line 42, line 42, sheet 1. So this is interesting, like why, yeah, it's not pulling in, see the way he wrote it, I saw it in another earlier version, which is fine, it's just he's having it put this, and then he puts the number here, so sort on values was 0. Oops. That's funny. Apparently, I have a hotkey for my my numpad to switch between the what are those things called? I forget what they're called. Scenes in OBS. Anyway, Excel ascending. So let's go into Excel ascending. Come back into the constants. Excel. Oh boy. So that's a 1. And Excel sort normal is a 0. I gotta stop using the numpad. So, oh, and somehow we got 2 zeros here. Save this. Now I don't know if that. Oh, there's still this key equals. I don't know what that would be. That doesn't. Well, let's just try it and see what happens. Nope, didn't like it. Invalid number parameter. Yeah, there's something else going on here, and it's a bit more complex, and I don't feel like I could try to work through it, but it's not really the point, right? The point is to show the VBA converter. Now, again, I don't want to, sound too negative on this because it's just the first stage, right? But for the more simpler things that don't have complex, functions or methods, it probably works pretty well, except for this whole thing of dropping it into a function and then having to declare the things as global and whatnot. So, but I'm sure that's an easy tweak for him. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty cool general, as you can see, a lot of this code, it's pretty close to AutoHotkey, right? It's pretty easy to read, and you can easily update it and convert it. Some things are a little trickier. These like advanced filtering ones. So those are ones that I've run into where you're like, holy cow. Or the search replace one is a very complex function, VBA function. But a lot of them, these are really straightforward. You're like, oh, okay. If we look at the, let's go back to the converter, which again might be a little small. Hopefully you can read this. But basically in VBA, you'll see it's set up with an equals for checking, and then you need to make it a like a colon equals, right? So it's some very basic things that you can do that need to do. But hope that helps. Again, it's the first stage, right? I think it'll obviously improve over time. Just wanted to document it and let you know it's there. Cheers.